Welcome back to We on Wild is One. We are glad you're watching. Time now for Pulse. I'm Eric Njoka. The headlines. Israeli military says it hit a residential tower in Gaza City after issuing 2 evacuation warnings, claiming that the building was used by Hamas to monitor the location of troops in that area. Jordanian king reaffirms his refusal towards any efforts by Israel to annex the occupied West Bank during a visit to the UAE. The message came after several Israeli officials suggested that the country could proceed with annexation.
In the building of the Ukrainian government, for the first time since the start of full-scale invasion, Russians struck our government headquarters in the center of Kyiv.
Ukrainian Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko says it's first time in the war that main government building in Kyiv has been hit as Russia launched its largest air attack of war on Ukraine overnight, killing at least 4 people. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says Washington is prepared to increase pressure on Russia, but Europe must also act to truly force Moscow to the negotiating table. Supporters of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro gather in Rio de Janeiro days before Supreme Court decides whether far-right leader is guilty of attempted coup. Bolsonaro risks up to 43 years in prison if convicted. London Metropolitan Police say total 890 people arrested in London during a protest this weekend in support of the banned group Palestine Action. The government in July proscribed the group under the UK's Terrorism Act. All right, the long-anticipated astronomical event has arrived, the celestial spectacle known as the Blood Moon. As Earth's shadow slowly engulfs the moon, it slips into a total eclipse and glows with a deep crimson hue that has fascinated cultures and astronomers for centuries. This is actually live. The eclipse is visible across continents including Asia, Europe, Africa and Australia, drawing sky watchers to rooftops, open spaces and observatories. And I will give you a moment to just observe the eclipse. The total phase lasts for 82 minutes and can be seen by nearly 85% of the world's population, making it one of the most spectacular lunar eclipses in a decade. In India, people in major cities like Delhi, Bengaluru and Chennai gathered in large numbers at planetariums, open grounds and rooftops to witness the moon's transformation during the eclipse. Astronomy groups and observatories arranged high-powered telescopes and public viewing sessions, allowing enthusiasts, students and families to follow the rare event closely. Crowds cheered as the bright moon gradually dimmed and shifted into shades of red, creating a shared moment of awe under the night sky. Meanwhile, in Jakarta, residents watched the spectacle unfold against the backdrop of the cityscape, where the rising crimson moon contrasted with a glow of urban lights. One can watch the moon shift in color with nothing more than the naked eye and character, a cosmic performance blending science, beauty and centuries-old beliefs in one unforgettable night. The eclipse is also being regarded as a spiritually charged moment because of its spiritual weight. The eclipse is often accompanied by prescribed do's and don'ts, helping devotees align themselves with balance, protection and positivity. Aligned with ancient Indian tradition, one is supposed to engage in meditation, religious songs during the eclipse. it is recommended to use the holy water from the river Ganga to remove ill effects of the lunar eclipse. And according to belief, it is allowed to put basil leaves in cooked food. It is also recommended to take a bath before the beginning and after the completion of the eclipse, which is after 82 minutes. The eclipse period is known as Sutak in Hindu traditions, and many households, and hence it asks not to cook food to protect it from negative influence. Engaging in new work or auspicious activities during the lunar eclipse is also forbidden, while the visit to temples or sacred places is also not recommended. Once again, just take a moment to view the eclipse.
The attack on Darul Jamal in the Bama local government area of Borno State took place Friday and killed at least 60 people, a resident of the village, Muhammad Babagana, told the Associated Press. The victims were residents who had recently returned from a camp for internally displaced persons, according to the authorities. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, who visited the attacked community late Saturday evening, confirmed to reporters that over 60 people died in the attack. The chairman of Bama's local government said over a dozen houses were burnt and more than 100 people were forced to flee. Boko Haram, Nigeria's homegrown Islamists, took up arms in 2009 to fight Western education and impose their radical version of Islamic law. The conflict has spilled into Nigeria's northern neighbors, including Niger. Once the backbone of Sudan's economy, the sector has been crippled by widespread fighting that destroyed irrigation systems, drove farm workers from their land, and left vast areas uncultivated. Since 2024, the conflict has spread into key grain-producing regions in central and southeastern Sudan, further reducing arable land. The Gezira Agricultural Scheme, Sudan's largest irrigated farming zone, has been particularly hit hard. The infrastructure of the Gezira Agricultural Zone has suffered severe damage in the conflict. Houses and buildings, irrigation facilities, farm machinery and other agricultural inputs were badly damaged. Large tracts of farmland have been abandoned, and even the management offices were looted. One could say the entire agricultural zone is nearly destroyed. Although fighting in Gezira has eased since early this year and displaced families are beginning to return, recovery has been slow. Local authorities estimate the conflict has caused between $15 and $20 billion in damages. Everything is terrible. We have no money, no food, and all supplies are exhausted. We don't even have drinking water, so we fetch it from the river. This is the hardship we're facing now. According to the United Nations, about 24.6 million Sudanese are facing severe food insecurity or worse. Egypt's foreign minister on Saturday rejected Israel's plan to expand military operations in the Gaza Strip. Badr Abdelati was speaking at a joint press conference in Cairo with UNRWA chief Filipe Lazzarini. Egypt has played an important role in dealing with the developments in the occupied Palestinian territories through the sincere and diligent efforts with the brothers in Qatar and the friends in the United States in order to impose an immediate ceasefire. However, Israel's continued intransigence and the imposition of impossible conditions remain a major obstacle to achieve tangible progress on the path of truce. An Israeli military spokesperson on Saturday urged Palestinians to flee to the south of the Gaza Strip. It came as the army intensified attacks on Gaza City. This is nonsense to say this is voluntary migration. The Palestinian people hold on to their land and their national land. They don't want to leave their land. Why should they leave? This is their land. This is their right to their history. This is the right of their law. human rights, moral rights, and their spiritual rights. So it is impossible. They were forced to leave as a result of making life impossible in the Gaza Strip. And we say this is voluntary displacement. This is absolutely incorrect. Gaza's Ministry of Health said Saturday at least 6 more people died as a result of the Israeli-induced famine.
In the United States, authorities are investigating a fatal helicopter crash that took place in Lakeville, Minnesota on Saturday afternoon, killing everyone on board. Police have confirmed that there are no survivors from the crash. However, officials are still working to determine the exact number of people on board at the time. The aircraft has been identified as a Robinson R-66, a single-engine chopper that can carry up to 5 people, including the pilot. The crash happened just minutes after takeoff from Sky Park Airport around 2:35 in the afternoon. The chopper reached about 2,000 feet before plummeting to the ground around 2:45. The National Transportation Safety Board says the helicopter went down under unknown circumstances before bursting into flames in a non-residential area. The wreckage was discovered just west of Air Lake Airport, approximately 20 miles south of downtown Minneapolis. The identities of the victims have not yet been released. Investigators are now working to determine the cause of the crash. Hey! Fuck you now! Fuck you!
Hey! A Los Angeles tow truck driver is facing charges of theft of government property after authorities say he towed a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement SUV. It happened during the arrest of 24-year-old TikTok personality Tatiana Mafla Martinez. The Department of Homeland Security says she entered the country illegally from Colombia in 2022 and was convicted of a DUI. Now, the man the Department of Justice says was behind the wheel, 33-year-old Bobby Nunez, stands accused of interfering with an immigration enforcement operation after law enforcement says he towed one of the ICE vehicles boxing in Martinez's car as she was arrested. The DOJ says Nunez made off with the vehicle while a gun and the keys were still inside. A DHS spokesperson tells Newsweek Nunez mocked and videotaped ICE officers chasing him during the incident. They say Nunez was arrested days later, and if convicted, he faces up to 10 years behind bars. Witness video shows Martinez pulled out of the car by her arms and legs. Agents say she was resisting orders, but her attorney tells ABC7 that she was scared because the agents failed to show a warrant. He also believes she was targeted because she had filmed ICE operations as part of her TikTok content, alerting people to agents' activity. Acting U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley wrote in a social media post, Bobby Nunez is under arrest for brazenly towing an ICE vehicle. He is charged with theft of government property. Apparently, he thought it would be funny to interfere with our immigration enforcement operations. Now he can laugh behind bars while he faces justice. Nunez's bond has been set at $10,000, and as of Tuesday, he had yet to enter a plea in the case.
Internet connectivity has been severely disrupted in several countries across South Asia and West Asia due to a series of undersea cable outages in the Red Sea. While the cause remains unclear, the incident comes amid heightened regional tensions. Global internet traffic remains mostly untouched, but inside West Asia and South Asia, millions of users faced slower speeds and interruptions. Microsoft confirmed the issue on its status page, warning that customers in the West Asia region may experience increased latency, though traffic outside the region remains unaffected. NetBlocks, a global watchdog monitoring internet access, reported a series of sub-sea cable outages in the Red Sea. Countries hit include India, Pakistan, and the United Arab Emirates. Pakistan Telecommunications confirmed the cuts, while users in the UAE complained of slower speeds. Saudi Arabia and the UAE authorities are yet to comment. Submarine cables are the backbone of the world's internet, but they remain vulnerable to damage from ships or even potential sabotage. The disruption comes against the backdrop of the Houthi rebels' Red Sea campaign, which has targeted shipping with missiles and drones since late 2023. Yemen's internationally recognized government earlier accused the Houthis of plotting to attack undersea cables, though the group denies responsibility. The Houthi-owned media outlet acknowledged reports of the outages, but made no claim of involvement.
Su plan de un cambio de régimen violento.
That's Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, accusing the US government of planning a violent regime change in his country. His comments come against the backdrop of a US military buildup in the Caribbean. On Friday, 10 stealth fighter jets were ordered to join the already bristling military presence.
We don't want drugs killing our people.
It's there, President Donald Trump said, as part of a crackdown on groups funneling drugs into the US. This was his response when asked about regime change on Friday.
Well, we're not talking about that, but we are talking about the fact that you had an election which was a very strange election, to put it mildly. I'm being very nice when I say that. I can only say that billions of dollars of drugs are pouring into our country from Venezuela.
Trump demonstrated his new approach in his drugs war on Tuesday. This strike killed 11 people and sank a boat the president said was transporting illegal narcotics. On Thursday, the Pentagon accused Venezuela of a highly provocative move after 2 Venezuelan fighter jets flew near a US Navy warship. Trump's administration has also sought to tie Maduro's government to narco-trafficking, allegations which are denied. Specifically, Trump has accused Maduro of running the Tren de Aragua gang, which the US declared a terrorist organization in February. Maduro has denied any connection to Tren de Aragua. His government says the group was rendered inactive in Venezuela by a prison raid in 2023. On Friday, Maduro said Venezuela has always been willing to talk. He added that he respects Trump, but that he also demands respect for our country, for our people. On Friday, some of those people were enjoying the sun on the beaches of La Guaira, seemingly unfazed by the military buildup. Student Vanessa Sanchez said everything seems calm. But we are aware of the international tensions, she added. Let's hope for the best.